Hey, what's up everybody? This is Damron. We're playing Gears 5. We're doing our collectible guide for Gears of War 5, and now we're on Act 3, Chapter 3. We're getting all the collectibles, all the components, all the relic weapons, and all the jack upgrades in one playthrough. Now, this is the largest collectible portion in the game. We will be getting a lot of collectibles in Act 3, Chapter 3, but after this, we will only have one more chapter to go. So let's go ahead and get started. The first one, you could have actually grabbed this in chapter 2 if you like when you go to the rocket hangar, but technically it is a chapter 3 collectible. So just outside the rocket hangar when you exit the facility, or if you're entering it for the first time, either way, on the right hand side before the entrance, kind of entering into it, up on the right near the wall here is our first collectible. Alright, moving on to the train turntable, which is all the way in the southeastern portion of the map. Again, technically while you're playing, this is considered Chapter 2, but the collectible that you pick up in here falls into the Chapter 3 collectibles in the menu, so we're going to include that here. When you get into the train turntable, this is the area you're going to be in. Eventually you're going to clear out those enemies and open this door and kind of go into the control tower itself. Once you get in here, go to the back left of the room for some components and our next collectible. Alright, moving on, we're going to go kind of back to the western side of the map, just outside the Cosmonaut training facility. To the west of that, near the fence, you're going to find these DB pods kind of next to the fence. In the midst of those pods are some components on the ground here.
Probably why you're a captain and I'm not.
Alright, moving to the actual Cosmonaut training facility itself. When you walk in, this is kind of what you're going to see. This is a nice, large, open, very beautiful area, but as soon as you enter the area, go to the left path all the way to the back for some more components.
Secrets are easy to keep.
Yeah. We all agree on that one.
Alright, from that collectible, we're going to walk up the path into the facility itself, and you're going to walk towards that kind of satellite structure. When you see the large astronaut statue, turn to the right and go all the way to the back wall back here for our next collectible.
Wait, I'm confused. I thought this was a UIR civil war.
The losers don't write the history books, Vasgari. You, of all...
After we've picked that up, now we're actually going to enter the facility itself through this rubble. When you do that, turn left, you'll see an electrical box for our next components.
Here's our way in.
Alright, shortly after that, you're going to kind of go through this door, which will lead you to this area, and we're going to walk down this path here as we actually enter the facility, and immediately look over to the left, and you'll see some components that Jack will need to grab.
Until your bot deals with that, you won't get to them either.
Hear that, buddy? Things in your tiny little heads.
From those components, let's go ahead and advance down the path. Once you get into the next large room, you're going to turn left into this dark portion of the room. You'll have to go through a metal detector all the way to the back for some more components. Advancing a little bit further, once you open this window here for a gorgeous view, turn right, and when you turn right, you'll have to, walk up onto this ledge here, go into this room, open this safe for our next components.
Okay. Solid copy. Me up here.
Alright, advancing a little bit further, you'll kind of fight your way up a hallway, go up some stairs, and you'll need to go through these double doors. This is the hallway you'll kind of walk up. Once you go through the double doors here, the components will be in this first room on the right as you go around the back side of the lockers in an electrical box.
Whoa, hard shell spacesuits? How advanced was the UIR space program? Hey kid.
Alright, advancing a little bit further, you're going to have to drop some pipes and move them out of the way. It's kind of like a little like a maze here that you go through. But anyway, once you get past that, you'll be on this ledge that you'll drop off. As soon as you drop off into this area, immediately turn right. There's a door you'll need to chainsaw open. Once you do that, there'll be some components right to the left here behind the door.
Come on, this way.
A little bit further in the mission, when you go under some hanging DBs in a crashed condor, you'll kind of move up the crashed condor. And before you turn right to the sleeping rejects part, you'll see some components laying on the ground here next to some DB pods. Alright, a little bit later into the mission, this will be after quite a large fight in this room with that rotating thing, and eventually you'll have this rubble path open before you, and when you go down this path not too far onto it, you'll find your next collectible on the ground. From this collectible, we're going to advance forward a little bit as we go up this stairway. Before we go through the door on the right, let's go all the way to the back of the hall, and we're going to kind of find some components in this dark portion of the hallway. From this components, just turn around, immediately go into the door right to your left for some more components in this electrical box.
Well, that's heavy.
All right, Baird, we're heading back. Paddock, send your people for the rest of these beacons when you can.
Alright, once you've exited the facility, now you're going to make your way back to the abandoned airport. This is kind of after you've already made it all the way back, and we're kind of near hangars 1, 2, and 3. On the right side of hangar 1 is the Talon relic weapon. And remember, you do need to get a kill with all of the relic weapons. Simply picking them up is not enough. From this relic weapon, let's hop on the skiff, or you can just run up there if you like. We're going to go all the way to hangar number 3. And on the right side of hangar number 3 is an electrical box with some more components. From these components, we're going to hop back on the skiff. We're going to drive around the fence all the way around to the other side of the main entrance of the airport. You'll find this small building, and in front of the sandbags is our next component. Alright, hopping back onto the skiff, we're going to turn around and we're going to head south all the way a little bit to where there's this fence on the edge of the cliff. Follow that fence up to the second portion of it past these rocks, and you'll find this down, kind of burnt up car with a body next to it and our next set of components. Alright, so after you finish the air pad sequence, you'll kind of have a pretty fun little fight there. You're going to head north of the first watermark kind of symbol up to the cliff here on the edge of the map. You're going to see this symbol, the Gears of War symbol on the cliff here. If you run up into these planets up in the corner, we're going to find the Gnasher relic weapon. Heading to the Waterworks facility itself, this is where you'll be after you kind of fight your way up to this small facility here. Before we open that door, let's head around back and we'll find an electrical box with some components. From these components, let's take the ladder up to the ceiling of the building, and we'll take the catwalk around, and eventually you'll see some components that you'll have to send Jack to grab. You won't actually be able to walk over there, so send Jack to go get them for you. From these components, we're going to head back down the ladder. We're going to open up the door, and inside that room is our next collectible, and also completing this area will give us 1/3 of the Jack upgrades for completing the Waterwork area side objectives.
Come on, out. There's no one in here. Oh, cute trick. Guess that's how you survived.
Na mira, koget koi, okran posi turtini opsa fashion.
Alright, moving on a little bit, kind of southwest of the Waterwork area, kind of again at the edge of the map, you'll kind of see this structure here up against the cliff. On the middle stone, or metal column here, you're going to find the next relic weapon, which is the Lancer GL, which is pretty fun to use. Alright, moving on into the main story, we're going to go to the Nomad convoy. As we go to this, beautiful wreckage here, as soon as you enter, turn right, and next to this blown up vehicle is going to be our next collectible. From this collectible, we're going to move up into the wreckage quite a bit until we get to 2 of the surviving nomads in a open container. You'll see 3 components right on the ground for you to grab.
Oh, they don't look damaged.
Haddock, mate.
Alright, moving on just slightly east of the Nomad convoy, again up against the edge of the map, you will find this small building here with a Gears of War symbol on it. If we go around the other side of the building, kind of go through this plant here and onto the roof, I think I actually walked below first by accident, but go on top and around, and in this small bush will be our claw relic. Alright, moving a little bit more northeast, just west of the second pump station, all against the edge of the map, you're going to see this kind of broken gate that's slightly opened. If you walk up there, we'll see some more components on the ground.
Jet, leeches! Let's take them down!
What are you doing?
Alright, actually moving near the pump station itself. We're not actually inside, but outside in this parking lot with all these burnt up cars. On the back row in a trunk will be our Markza Relic.
That'll work.
From the Markza Relic location, we're going to turn around and go to the left side of the parking lot, and in between 2 of these burnt up cars we're going to find our next component. Alright, progressing into the pump station itself, which is the second of 3 Waterwork locations. If you go past this little Nomad guy all the way to the edge of the walkway, on these crates will be our next component. Also, by fending off the juvies that come into this area, you will actually complete this Waterworks area, and that will count as 2/3 of the upgrade for Jack's Waterworks upgrade. Alright, moving on to this location, which is sort of east of the Nomad convoy, a little bit south by southwest from where we just were. This is at the foot of the bridge that's in the small kind of valley here, and you can see where we're at here. If you go to the middle column on the ground level of the bridge, you'll see a electrical box with some more components in it. A little bit south of that location, outside of the city ruins, which is right here, if you turn to your right when facing the ruins, you'll see these buildings kind of tucked into the actual walls itself. If you go into this opening, you'll find some more components.
Incoming building!
Alright, progressing into the actual city ruins itself. This is going to be quite a big battle you're going to have in this area right here. And after you finish that battle, this door is going to open, at which point you can go in. And once you go in, we're going to turn right and go up some stairs. Once you go up the stairs, right in front of you on the table is our next collectible.
Maybe they won't mind if we borrow some supplies.
Baird.
Turning right from this collectible and progressing into the building, you know, past the blown out portion into the next part that has a ceiling, immediately turn around and our next collectible is going to be on this wall.
We were a little short on time.
Oh, all right. We'll keep an eye out.
We're done here. We should get back on track.
Yeah.
From this collectible turn around, we'll go through the double door entryway, through two of them actually, and once we get through the second double entryway and turn around, you're going to see another electrical box housing some components for you.
Others are still missing.
If we come across them, we'll try to help.
I would very much appreciate that.
Alright, so exiting the city, old city ruins, and actually going around to the other side opposite of the entry point, so we're on the back side of the city ruins, you'll see this gate with a little opening in it, and of course a nice Gears of War symbol sign. Once you go in there, you'll see some boxes. One of them will be opened, housing the Hammerburst weapon for your use.
I'm taking this.
Just a little bit east of where we were and directly west of the harbor docks is going to be our next components. You'll see these three large pipes kind of exiting the wall and kind of going into this small building here, and an electrical box is right on the small building with some components in it.
If we want to check on the old dogs, now might be a good time.
Alright, going to the harbor docks itself, after you kind of clear out this area, this is the area that you're going to be in. On the left side of this area is kind of this little structure here. Hop on there and walk to the front of it, and if you turn around, you'll find your components sitting on the ledge there. From these components, we're actually going to take off and run all the way to the other side of this small area. Once we get to the other side, you'll find this small tin guard structure here that's kind of destroyed. On the other side of it's another component. Also, before you leave this area, be sure you have Jack activate this drill. Activating this drill will actually complete the Waterworks area and give you the final portion of the upgrade. As long as assuming you've done all three of them, you will now have the ultimate upgrade for doing all three. Alright, moving on a little bit south of where we were, south of the harbor docks, in this kind of opened area, you're going to find these three trucks kind of just, buried in the sand with some bodies around them. The first truck on the left is going to have our next collectible. From this collectible, immediately turn right, and the first body in the sand behind him will have some more components. Alright, moving on, we're going to go a little bit northeast of the harbor docks, south of the rocket hangar, and we're going to find a structure kind of in the middle of nowhere, just hanging out. And if you run up there on the inner portion here, you're going to find another electrical box with some components. Southeast from the rocket hangar itself, right against the edge of the map. So you see here's the wall of the map. Right at that location you'll see a Gears of War symbol. If you go up there, you're going to find this Snub Relic sitting right here on a rock for you.
taking this.
Moving on to another open area that's just slightly north of the bridge controls that you were at earlier when you were saving the train. You'll see this kind of odd reef-like structure sitting here, kind of cool looking actually, with a Gears of War symbol on it. Go to the back side of that and we're going to find the Overkill Relic.
This'll work.
The fact that I'm not 100%.
Alright, here's the train bridge. Now we're on the ground level of the right side of the train bridge. If you go to that location, you'll see another electrical box with more components. Alright, moving on to the artillery battery. This is just south of the actual train bridge itself. You're going to fight some enemies in this area. Once you clear them out, you will enter in, go up the stairs into the control room itself and turn right. There'll be an electrical box with some components for you. From these components, just turn around. Immediately on the table here is our next collectible and 2/3 of the Scavenger associated Jack upgrade.
Del.
From this collectible, head to the front left of the room and you'll find another collectible sitting on this control desk. Alright, moving on more east, we're going to go to the cargo shipwreck. Just outside of it and north of the actual shipwreck itself, you're going to see this body lying in the sand. Go up to it for a component. Moving into the cargo shipwreck itself, you're going to have a pretty fun little battle in here. Actually, after you drop down and clear those out, let's go to the right side through this kind of sand here. You'll see an open container, and inside that open container is our next collectible.
But at least he's safe. I'll get him reinforced. Know that your efforts are appreciated.
From this collectible, let's exit the little storage container, head up a little bit further. On the ground, you'll find a set of 3 components. From these components, we're going to go up on top of this little stairs to this platform. We're going to find our next collectible, which is also going to give us our 3rd portion of the Scavenger associated Jack upgrades, which is pretty nice. It's the detonator implant, which is pretty cool. Alright, outside the shipwreck again, but this on the southern portion of the shipwreck. If you look at the shipwreck itself from the south, you'll see this small little opening. Go inside there and we're going to get our Lancer Relic.
I'll take that.
Alright, so heading all the way to the southeast, slightly west of the crashed Condor site, at the tail of the crashed Condor, on some boxes, we're going to find our last relic weapon, the Embar. Remember, you need to get a kill with each of these weapons. If you've gotten a kill with all of them as we've been collecting them, then you should have the Relics of the Past achievement at this point. Now, heading into the crashed Condor itself, after you finish a little fight in here, go into the body of the plane. You'll see a safe that's housing 5 more components.
Jack, safe. Open it.
There.
Alright, from this location, we are going to exit the Condor crash site, hop in our skiff. We're going to travel all the way around to the back side of the crashed Condor site, and in some rubble, we're going to find our next component.
I'm on.
From this component, we're just going to head slightly west-southwest, and we're going to find a small little structure here with another component. Alright, from that component, we're just going to go across the way here to that other portion of Crashed Condor. And that is going to be our final component of this chapter. That's going to be the final thing in this chapter. This has been a beastly chapter to grab all of the items, upgrades, collectibles, and components in. So I hope you guys have found this helpful. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you guys are liking this series. If you like my stuff, feel free to like and subscribe. I will say, just for your knowledge, there are no collectibles in Act 3, Chapter 4. The next chapter that is going to have collectibles is going to be in Act 4, Chapter 1. So we'll see you there. Don't worry about Act 3, Chapter 4. It is collectible free. We, in fact, only have one more chapter to go. So I hope you guys have enjoyed it again, and hopefully we'll see you in Act 4, Chapter 1 for our final chapter and the complete collectible component relic weapons and jack upgrades, guys. See you there, guys.